Greetings my chess friends, Robbie again, and I'm going to show you another little chess game with the Colle opening system that I love so much. Now, this was played on chess.com and my opponent Ruslan was from Malaysia and he was rated at the time 1930, and I myself was very similarly rated in the 1900s. So of course I began with d4, d4, knight f6 is standard move, of course preventing e4, knight f3, d5, and here of course I play e3, my beloved little Colle system. And he played knight c6 going into a kind of Shigorin defense, and his idea is simply of course to play e5. And I said in my first little video that when your opponent plays something unusual and sharp like this, then we need to abandon the Colle system and play something equally sharp and dynamic ourselves. And it's for this reason that instead of playing a move like bishop d3 or knight bd2 or c3, I played c4. Play d6, knight c3, bishop b4, and it's a kind of Nimzo-Indian for my opponent, except that this knight here is really misplaced. Normally in the Nimzo-Indian is that you try to get the move in c5 and attack these dark squares. But my opponent has no chance for this because of this knight here on c3, and he's got a really bad version of the Nimzo-Indian. I play queen to c2, knight to e4. I have no panic and I don't sweat, I'm simply prepared to develop my pieces. Bishop d3 was played, and here he played f5. And I don't like this move at all. If his idea is to exchange off my knight for this bishop, then he's going to be left with a terrible bad bishop, because these central white pawns are all on light squares. I castled, and here he played something I consider to be positionally suicidal. Bishop takes c3. B takes c3, he castled, and here I developed with tempo bishop to a3, and my bishop cuts right through along this diagonal here into my opponent's position. Of course the rook must move, rook to f7. And here I play very simple chess, putting my rook on this half open b file. b6 was played, c takes d, c takes d, e takes d5, c4. Knight to a5. And if you look at, there's something unstable about this diagonal here. There's a rook and a king lined up on the same diagonal, and if I can open this up and in some way I'll be able to reap the benefits of this tactically. C takes d, therefore queen takes d, and the only thing stopping me of course from skewering this queen and this rook is this knight here. And you can see for yourselves, how precarious black's position actually is. I advance my knight and gain a tempo on this rook. Play queen takes c7. Bishop to b7 was played. And I still have the idea of playing against this queen and this king on this a2 g8 diagonal. And therefore I play rook to b5, because the only thing preventing me from putting my bishop there is this misplaced knight on a5. Here my opponent played queen takes a2, a tactically disastrous choice. Rook takes a5, b takes a5, and of course I'm now free to play bishop to c4. Here I actually thought bishop to d5 was a better move, but my opponent instead simply decided to give up the queen with queen takes c4 and queen takes c4 with check. Of course, look at this bishop and this queen in tandem along these diagonals. The king is forced into the corner. Of course, we're free to play knight to f7, rook takes f7, queen takes f7, bishop to a6 attacking the rook, but we have of course a much greater threat. Bishop to f8, disrupting the communication between rook and king and threatening checkmate in one. And I don't think there's in fact any defence to this. My opponent tried knight to g5, and of course it was simply checkmate next move. So this was again a very lively game in the Colle system, very exciting both positionally and tactically, and I show it to you for this reason, that the hope is that you might have a go with the Colle system yourself and discover for yourself just how enjoyable it can be. So once again I thank you very much for taking the time, and I wish you well with your own chess.